The mystery of death. Who is right about this? Death, a concept that carries both fear and wonder, an inevitable reality for every living being on Earth, yet an enigma that remains shrouded in mystery. Across cultures, religions, philosophies, and science, humanity has probed at this profound question: what happens when life ends? Today, in this poetic journey, we dive into the enigma of death, asking ourselves, who is right about this enduring mystery? Not to seek absolute answers, but to explore the depths of human curiosity and thought. Let us embark on this exploration together. Since the dawn of civilization, humans have grappled with understanding death. Our earliest ancestors may have seen death as a transformation, an entry into another world, tethered by rituals of burial and reverence for the deceased. Ancient philosophers such as Socrates believed that death was a release of the soul, separating it from the limitations of the body. He famously claimed, "Death may be the greatest of all human blessings," defining it as a transition, not an end. The Stoics, too, urged us to make peace with mortality, emphasizing memento mori, remember, you will die. Meanwhile, ancient religions offered structured ideas about death. In Hinduism and Buddhism, death is not final. It is a step in the endless cycle of reincarnation, samsara. Good karma leads to better rebirths, while wisdom offers liberation, moksha, or nirvana, freeing the soul from the cycle altogether. This perspective transforms death from a feared end into a bridge to a deeper journey. Similarly, indigenous and tribal communities often saw death as a flowing cycle rather than a sudden stop. Ancestral spirits guide the living, ensuring that death strengthens, rather than severs, connections between the past and present. In all of these perspectives, one truth is abundantly clear. Humans have always viewed death not as oblivion, but as transformation. Jumping forward, monotheistic religions, Christianity, Islam, and Judaism introduce specific concepts of the afterlife, framed as a moral consequence of earthly life. In Christianity, eternal life is embraced through belief in God. Heaven is a reward for faith, while hell is a realm of eternal suffering for the unrepentant. Islam offers a similar view, emphasizing deeds judged on the day of judgment, leading to paradise or punishment. Judaism places slightly less emphasis on the afterlife, focusing more on the legacy one leaves behind in the world of the living. Life is precious within itself, and death is simply part of a divine plan. This moral framing shaped humanity's collective understanding of death for centuries, introducing accountability in an ultimate sense. Yet not all agree on what lies beyond. Some remain rooted in the physical world, asking whether death could be a much simpler affair altogether. From the grandiose imagery of heaven and reincarnation, let us turn to a different lens: science. To the human mind, death may appear like flicking a switch, but modern biology paints a more intricate picture. When the heart ceases beating and blood no longer flows, the body begins a gradual shutdown. Cells live briefly before succumbing. Eventually, even the brain, our essence of self, stops. But here lies another mystery. Is consciousness merely the byproduct of brain activity, or could it exist beyond the physical? Neuro-Scientific Research has delved into what happens during death. Reports from individuals who've had near-death experiences, a phenomenon where people recall vivid, often spiritual moments during clinical death, have intrigued scientists for decades. Common experiences include the sensation of leaving one's body, glimpses of a light, and overwhelming feelings of peace. Are these the final sparks of a dying brain, or proof of something more? Some scientists suggest that the diminished oxygen levels during death may trigger these experiences. Still, others, including philosophers, aren't convinced that all can be dismissed as mere biology. Could near-death experiences provide glimpses of a reality we cannot yet fathom? Throughout human history, cultural and artistic expressions have offered some of the most profound insights into how societies see death. From literature to visual art and cinema, depictions of mortality are everywhere. Take William Shakespeare's Hamlet, where the prince grips a skull and ponders, "To be or not to be, that is the question." Here, Shakespeare illustrates death's inevitability, yet portrays it as an abstraction we'll never truly understand. Dante's Divine Comedy offers another depiction, showing vivid visions of divine judgment, reckoning, and eternal destinations for the soul. Artwork, too, reflects the universal struggle to grasp mortality. Think of motifs like Mexico's Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead, where colorful skulls and altars celebrate the joyful memory of those passed on. Here, death is less ominous. It is honored, remembered, and accepted. Even in modern media, films like The Seventh Seal or Coco continue the dialogue, framing death not as an end, but as a central theme in the tapestry of life. As societies have become more secular, interpretations of death have also shifted. Existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus viewed death as not only inevitable, but something that gives life its value and urgency. Camus' words ring true here. Come to terms with death. Thereafter, anything is possible. Existentialists challenge us to not dwell in fear of death, but to see it as a motivator for a meaningful, purposeful life. Secular individuals often reject notions of an afterlife. For them, death is the end, an irreversible halt to consciousness. Yet, within this finality lies opportunity to make the most of life while it lasts. Increasingly, modern practices like death meditation and death cafes encourage open forums to embrace mortality without taboo. Movements like natural burials also reject the fear of death. These modern rituals bring an ecological perspective, allowing death to contribute to new life, literally returning to the earth in harmony. It mirrors the cyclical ideas of indigenous perspectives, but merges them with sustainability. Through it all, one question persists. Can humans ever know what lies beyond death? Science, philosophy, religion, and art have all attempted answers, yet none hold universal truth, and maybe they're not meant to. The idea of death remains deeply personal. To some, it's comfort, an inevitable reunion with loved ones. To others, it is simply the end, neither frightening nor mystical. Regardless of perspective, we are all bound by the singular reality. Death is a mystery that we experience only once and leave behind in silence. As we conclude this journey, the purpose of exploring death isn't to arrive at answers, but to immerse ourselves in the shared human experience of questioning. What makes the mystery of death so enduring is its paradox. It separates us physically, but unites us emotionally. It terrifies yet inspires, ends yet renews. Our lives are defined by the meaning we attach to the time we have. Perhaps therein lies the most profound lesson. Death is less about what comes after, and more about what we accomplish before. So ask yourself, what does the mystery of death mean to you? Rather than fearing it, can you see its shadow as a gentle nudge to cherish every sunrise, every breath, and every moment that makes life infinitely precious? Thank you for watching this exploration into the mystery of death. Who is right about this? Perhaps the answer isn't about being right. Instead, it's about what the question invites us to discover. We can only find that meaning by living life to its fullest,